Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Charles Alpha Shegu. I will be translating for us today, but first let's take a look at some of our top stories. Minister of Defense reiterates President Tinubu's commitment to troops' welfare and training. Macron welcomes Democratic Republic of Congo's president as Francophonie summit opens in France. And federal government redirects implementation of Nigeria's road safety measures. The federal government has directed the implementation of an overhaul of Nigeria's road safety measures aimed at addressing Nigeria's road safety and reducing road traffic accidents across the nation. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the directive during a meeting with the leadership of the Federal Road Safety Corps led by its Corps Marshal, Shehu Mohammed, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Vice President will inaugurate the National Road Safety Advisory Council, saddled with the responsibility of reducing traffic accidents by half before 2030. Stressing the urgent need to address the increasing road accidents on the highways and in the cities caused by non-adherence to traffic regulations. The Vice President, who chairs the National Road Safety Advisory Council, highlighted the importance of leveraging technology and enforcing discipline to improve road safety, emphasizing the interconnected nature of road safety with the broader security concerns. Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed said the National Road Safety Advisory Council is a critical aspect of the updated Nigeria Road Safety Strategy 2021-2030, outlining the Council's primary functions to include setting national road safety targets, coordinating efforts between federal, state and local governments, and overseeing the implementation of strategic initiatives. The Council's membership includes 6 governors representing the 6 geopolitical zones, various ministers, the National Security Advisor, and the President of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria. Now, activists in Tunisia says the barring of independent election observers from Sunday's presidential vote in Tunisia reflects a broader crackdown on rights groups ahead of the ballot which President Kais Saied is widely expected to win. The Tunisian Electoral Board says it will not allow observers from iWatch and Murakibon to monitor the vote, alleging they received suspicious foreign funds. The 2 watchdogs have been monitoring Tunisia's elections for fraud since the 2011 uprising that ousted former dictator Zine Abidine Ben Ali. His ouster ushered in the Arab Spring regional uprisings, all of which failed except in Tunisia, which for a time became the only democracy to emerge from the Middle East movements against authoritarianism. But the North African country's path changed dramatically soon after Said's democratic elections in 2019. Report says he orchestrated a sweeping power grab that included dissolving parliament and replacing it with legislature with limited powers. He has jailed opposition figures and critics, and his 5 years in power drew scrutiny in a report issued by iWatch. And from Tunisia, I'll take you to Egypt, where Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has now welcomed his United Arab Emirates counterpart to Cairo. Amid crisis in the Middle East, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan met el-Sisi on the tarmac of Cairo airport. The visit comes as important following Israel's continuous bombing campaign in Lebanon. Alongside the United States, Egypt has been working unsuccessfully to broker a ceasefire in Gaza. The visit also comes as pressure mounts on the Emirates Sea over accusation of backing Sudanese rebels accused of committing war crimes. The Emirates president's delegation included the ministers of industry, investment and defense, as well as a national security advisor. The Sudanese army for days now has launched its largest military operation. The operation, which is the largest in months, is part of efforts to recapture the capital Khartoum, controlled by the paramilitary rapid support forces.
It is a conflict that has refused to let up. The two rival sides not wanting to cede any ground. The Sudanese army's latest operation is aimed at expanding north of the capital Khartoum, determined to gain back areas that the RSF took control of.
The army has objectives to destroy RSF solid forces and transform them into liquid forces that are easy to deal with by the infantry. Therefore, we are witnessing an intensification of air sorties and then an intensification of infantry raids, as happened in the city of Omdurman.
But as the two warring factions continue to flex their muscles, civilian suffering intensifies. Insecurity, the closure of markets, shops and hospitals, and the lack of water and electricity are taking a toll. But despite the difficult humanitarian conditions, residents like Zainab Mergani and her mother have opted to stay.
Our stay here in Khartoum preserves our homes and property, and also my father's health condition does not allow us to leave the city of Khartoum Bari, so we chose to stay for this period. The problem is getting treatment for my father, as hospitals are closed and transportation is halted, so the situation is critical.
We cannot go out, and even when I tried to go out into the street to go to the hospital when my leg was injured, a military officer brought me back from the street. I never found any way out, so I came home, but buying medicine has been very difficult.
As the conflict drags on and the humanitarian conditions deteriorate, residents' only hope is that the fighting ends soon so they can resume their normal lives, interrupted now for almost a year and a half.
In other news, President Emmanuel Macron has welcomed the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, as a bilateral meeting at the Elysee Palace as France hosts the 19th International Francophonie Summit on 4 and 5 October for the first time in 33 years. Francis Udojo has the details.
The summit of the Francophonie, which gathers most of the world's French-speaking countries, has 54 members, amongst which 29 are African. For 2 days, delegations from around the world in villas co-terraced in France. The theme of the summit is Create, Innovate, and Do Business in French. French is one of the 5 most used languages in the world, as according to the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, OIF, over 321 million people speak it. The Francophonie is a platform through which Emmanuel Macron can meet with African leaders. This comes at a time when France's so-called privileged ties with Africa is put to the test, following military coups in some African regions, Niger, where the OIF was created, Mali and Burkina Faso have been suspended by the body, as Mali and Burkina Faso retrograded French to the level of working language. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Now, the health service in Ghana has confirmed the first case of Mpox this year. Health officials say tests has been conducted to determine whether it is the clade IB strain. The patient, a young man, is experiencing fever rash and body aches. Health authorities say they have traced 25 contacts who are now under observation. Ghana had previously detected Mpox cases in both 2022 and 2023. It will be recalled that in August, the World Health Organization declared Mpox a global health emergency. after an outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo spread to surrounding nations. There are currently 2 circulating strains of Mpox, clade I, common in parts of West and Central Africa, and clade IB, which is more easily transmitted, especially through close contacts. Now to other news, Borno State government has confirmed a cholera outbreak in the state. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Professor Baba Malam Ghana, confirmed the outbreak in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Fatima Issa reports.
200 samples suspected to be cholera were earlier sent for testing, out of which 17 indicated positive of the deadly disease. Borno State Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Professor Babu Malam Ghana, attributed the outbreak to the recent flood that devastated parts of Maiduguri and environs, displacing about 2 million people, as well as resulting to contamination of potable drinking water.
It's very important that all of us are aware of this disease and take precautions to ensure that, this disease does not take root in our state.
Though no reported case of fatality so far, the commissioner noted that out of the 451 samples collected from 5 local government areas comprising Jere, Mafa, Kwandaga, Dikwa and MMC, 17 came out positive. The commissioner noted that cholera case might now be on an increase across local government areas of Borno State, considering the fact that there are reported cases of the infectious disease in neighboring states of Adamawa and Yobe. He was emphatic that the state government has directed the ministry to carry out immediate intervention to every ramification to contain the menace. Humanitarian partners and organizations, including World Health Organization and MSF, have also set up facilities to handle suspected cases, in addition to making about 400,000 cholera vaccines available to contain further spread of the infectious disease. In Maiduguri, Fatima Issa, NTA News.
And still on health, for a while now, the Nigerian government has been making progress in the elimination of malaria, but gaps remain in the area of perceptions about symptoms of the disease. Uche reports that the National Malaria Elimination and Control Program dialogued with newsmen in Abuja to address the issue of effective malaria case management and the appropriate use of malaria medicines.
When the body is hot and the person is feeling cold, they feel that is malaria.
I don't put my family on the map. Like, there is a period of time, like every 2 months, I deworm them and I treat them of malaria.
The narratives of Emmanuel and Josephine are those of many Nigerians who relate any fever to malaria, leading to a cycle of self-diagnosis and misuse of medications. This media dialogue aims to change these narratives by educating the populace about the importance of environmental manipulation, laboratory testing, and the responsible use of anti-malarials, as taking the right steps can save lives and resources.
We want to see people collaborating with the National Malaria Elimination Program, Federal Ministry of Health, in disseminating the correct messages on malaria to our people.
Embedded within this malaria case management actually is the diagnosis and treatment of malaria as appropriate.
So when we test before we treat, so we delay the onset and reduce the spread of drug resistance, we limit wastage and we ensure effective management of fever cases. So we are not treating fevers that are attributed to other diseases or other things. We are targeting our intervention and our use of resources and medicines.
One of the challenges we've been having so far is people saying the nets are not working, the anti-malaria medicines are not working. But I want to assure you that these are some of the interventions that have been demonstrated to be very, very efficacious.
As Nigeria, which contributes 22% of the global burden of malaria, gears towards the elimination of the disease, enlightening the public on effective case management, experts say, will not only reduce malaria attacks, but also improve overall health outcomes for future generations. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
You're still watching the news on NTA International. More reports ahead. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The head of Civil Service of the Federation, D.D. Elster Wilson-Jack, has sought collaboration with the Alumni Association of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies in a sustained effort to improve on implementation of Pillar 1 of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan, which focuses on building staff capabilities and talent management. This was when she received members of the Alumni Association of the Institute, led by the President, Ambassador Emmanuel Obi Okafor, in her office in Abuja. Haman Jabani reports.
It is hoped that the visit marks the beginning of a fruitful collaboration between the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation and Alumni Association of the National Institute, as well as add value towards addressing the skills gaps identified in the system. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, D.D. Elster Wilson-Jack, said that the office is currently fast-tracking the implementation of the 6 pillars of FCCIP 25 and that each of the pillars is implemented in line with the strategy document, while commending the numerous research work conducted by participants during their program at the National Institute. President of the Alumni Association, Ambassador Emmanuel Obi Okafor, informed that the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies is the highest policy think tank in the country that has produced several technocrats and statesmen who have and are contributing greatly to the development of Nigeria. The body congratulated the head of the civil service on her appointment and assured her of the alumni's support and commitment to drive positive change through partnership in the service for the development of Nigeria. The Unity Schools All-Student Association, led by the President General Michael Megari, also paid a visit to the head of the civil service and assured her of the association's support in her drive to reform the Federal Civil Service. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation thanked the association for their commitment to the unity of Nigeria and sought their support for resource persons to build the capacity of civil servants, teachers, and federal training centers participants in fulfillment of the goals of Pillar 1 of the FCCIP 25 strategic document. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
The quest to build a Nigeria that delivers for all is not only a collective responsibility, but one rooted in value reorientation. At the 2024 Ethical Leadership and Governance Summit in Abuja, the need for agencies like the National Orientation Agency to develop messages to reorientate the minds of Nigerians towards nation building was stressed. Calvin Hunaye reports.
At every level of governance, be it at the ministry, department, or agencies of government whose services have direct impact on the lives of Nigerians, ethical leadership that inspires change and good service delivery has the potential to redirect the minds and attitude of the people towards good conduct and values, which are the building blocks of every nation. The summit, facilitated by the Center for Ethical Conduct, Orientation and Empowerment, also allocated constant training and retraining of people holding leadership positions at various levels on ethical conduct in public service.
We believe that people should do the right thing at the right time for the right reason, for the right purpose, and with moderation. So we believe that ethical conduct is the only way we can address leadership challenge, by having responsible leadership and leadership who has integrity and are governed with conduct of moderate virtues.
The summit, tagged Renew Hope Through Ethical Service Delivery, was also used to recognize some individuals and organizations who have demonstrated tenets of good leadership and service delivery in a bid to inspire others. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, has reiterated President Bola Tinubu's commitment to troops' welfare and training in the ongoing renewed drive to further secure the nation's defense. Correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this was at the graduation ceremony for Army War College Nigeria Course 8 2024.
Confer on 75 of you individually and collectively.
With this symbolic ceremony, these military officers have been conferred Fellows of the Army War College Nigeria, a prestigious institution established in 2017 as the highest professional military education institution of the Nigerian Army. The college mission is to produce trained and inspired operational level leaders for the Nigerian Army with strategic skills in planning, conduct of operations, and general application of land power in a joint environment.
Be careful of solutions you prefer today, as they may become problems for tomorrow. There will be high demand from you for excellence, knowledge, ideas, options, and quality service, among others.
The Minister of Defense charged the graduates to lead with integrity and be dynamic in the quest to combat threats.
Always remembering that true leadership is about serving others and making decisions that reflect the highest military values of honor and greatness.
Lieutenant Colonel Akmi Regis from Côte d'Ivoire is the best graduating allied officer.
The war college is not an easy course, so you have to be ready to follow this course intellectually and physically.
A total of 75 officers from the Nigerian Armed Forces, 6 from allied countries, were conferred fellows of the Army War College Nigeria. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The federal government has called for collective efforts from states and key stakeholders in the water and sanitation sector to accelerate the disbursement of the World Bank support funds for improved water and sanitation services in the country. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation Professor Joseph Woodsop made the call during the opening of the midterm review roundtable meeting with governors of participating states in Abuja. Usman Zubairu reports.
The objective of this sustainable urban and rural water supply, sanitation and hygiene soil wash midterm review roundtable meeting are to update and assess the performance of pilot states and also chart the path for the program's implementation in benefiting states. Discussions will resolve around challenges requiring the attention of state governors, which affect cash flow and hinder the achievement of desired results. Minister of Water Resources urged participating states to take ownership of the program. He emphasized that the NG Soil Wash initiative in Nigeria is critical in enhancing access to water, sanitation and hygiene services in both rural and urban communities.
We are going to visit all the states, the 7 state governors in their various states, and they will show us what they have on ground, and we can now explain to them and put them in the right direction of what is expected of them.
We are facing significant delays and challenges that need immediate attention.
Governor of Katsina State, Umar Dukarada, noted that states are beginning to better understand the program, acknowledging that the low implementation rates stem from a lack of clarity.
Even though Katsina State came out as #1 among the participating states in terms of the implementation, but our result also is very poor because it's about 40%. And we are expected to at least reach about 70–80% implementation.
The expected outcome of the program, which is in its 3rd year, is that participating states should increase investment in wash services for Nigeria to achieve set targets. In Abuja, Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu congratulates Chief Henry Ajomale, the former chairman of the Action Congress of Nigeria and the All Progressives Congress in Lagos State on his 80th birthday. President Tinubu rejoices with the lawyer, businessman and political ally who also served as Commissioner for Special Duties in Lagos State during the president's tenure as governor. The president acknowledges Chief Ajomale's lifetime of service, selfless leadership and immense contributions to the state and the nation. He believes that Chief Ajomale's remarkable leadership qualities have been evident since his early days as a students' union leader and have shown through his work in the courtroom, boardroom, political arena and active membership of Lagos State's Governance Advisory Council. President Tinubu's praise for the continued well-being of the octogenarian and all members of his household. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has sympathized with the governments and the people of Kwara and Niger states over the dramatic boat mishap, which claimed dozens of lives and more than 100 others are still unaccounted for. In a message to the states whose citizens were affected, the former president said he was extremely pained by the agonizing incident and that his heart and prayers were for the repose of the dead and the successful rescue of several dozens of mostly women and children still unaccounted for. Now, the Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has described the late wife of Akwa Ibom State Governor Patience Umo as a peaceful and God-fearing woman who truly loved her people. She was speaking at the governor's lodge, Uyo, during a condolence visit to the governor of the state, Pastor Umo, on the passing of his wife. The First Lady was joined on the visit by the wife of the Vice President, Hajia Nana Shetima, wives of the leadership of the National Assembly and state governors. While going down memory lane on her relationship with the deceased, the First Lady noted that she was honored to have met the deceased.
We believe that God knows when to call everybody home. She has finished her course. Despite we want her to stay behind, God will comfort you, sir. Comfort you, the children. And what she couldn't finish, you will finish. I've been talking to your dad. You will help your dad and support your dad. And we will be here for you. You know, your mom was a great woman, and I'm honored to have met her. You know, I can't just say it grieves me. It's just dawning on me that's why my advice to when you meet anybody, treat them with love and respect. I'm glad that I was able to show her a little bit of time, and God will, support you.
For the governor, mourning his wife is not something that will go away soon.
So, for me, the mourning is a lifetime mourning. And that's why I've told a few people that have come to see me that, look, let me take it in bits, because it's not something that will go away. But Your Excellency, you're a mother. Many times she would tell me all of the calls, all of the prayers that the First Lady called,
He appreciated the First Lady for being a true mother to all and promised to sustain the office and the activities of the First Lady in the state through his daughter, Helen. The First Lady later signed the condolence register while special prayers were held for the repose of the soul of the deceased and comfort for the family during their grieving moment. And this is where we end the news. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha. Shegun Ajayi has been our sign language interpreter.